let's give the people at home some take-home tips.
Okay.
Some solid fucking Hyrox tips. Because I imagine some people listening probably are training or have got a Hyrox lined up. Because I get quite a lot of questions about Hyrox.
Or probably at least are just interested in fitness as a whole, and probably, even if you haven't heard of it, now we're going to look at it and think, oh, okay, fucking...
Right, okay, so number one is a training tip. And this goes without saying. Don't neglect running.
Yeah, I would agree.
Which is something that we definitely did.
I think running obviously is, like we've said, the majority of the event, and compromise running is a massive thing. You're not going to be able to do compromise running if you can't do regular running. If you can't do like a 10k unbroken, a 60-minute run, a 90-minute run without really struggling, to just try and turn the dial on, okay, I'm going to try and fucking do a K off the back of a ski or a sled or whatever, is pretty stupid. You're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So build your fucking base first. Make sure that's in, because you need a base of fitness, because it is a long event.
Yeah. Build your base and then turn up the dial on speed work and compromise running.
Yeah, speed work's important, I think, but compromised even more so, because it's so different. To go straight into like 1 kilometre repeats is one thing. To go from like pushing a massively heavy sled then into 1k repeats is fucking completely different.
Different kettle of fish.
It's insane. So it's so different, and especially if you're doing individual, because you have no chance to rest or get a respite. If you're doing doubles, you have a little bit of like a minute maybe or so that you rest in between the sleds.
Yeah.
But I think we'll probably, so if you, depending on what category you're going into, probably depends on whether you need to do more strength stuff or less, I think.
I guess. Well, I was going to say, like, if you want an idea for how you should kind of divvy up your training, use our example of, for our event, so we did like 1 hour 5 or whatever doubles, like 45 minutes of that was running.
Yeah.
So you want it, so if you're looking at your training program and at least half of it isn't running, then I'd probably get a different training program.
Yeah, half of it should be kind of running or at least cardio based. Trying to, even if it's like on the bike or whatever, to try and build a little bit of a base. But I think those sessions where you're going from one implement into running, then from one into running is super important.
You want to be doing at least, well, I know we had a disagreement about this yesterday because I don't agree with the intensity prescribed by the example that you gave. But I think you do want to be doing kind of not a full simulation, but you want to be doing a decent compromise running session at least once a week in your training.
Yeah, you've got to be pushing the limits a little bit. Like you haven't, because in a race you're going to be at 80-90% of your max heart rate. So you have to have exposure to that. You have to have felt what it's like, even if it's not for like a physiological benefit, which it is, but even like more so, probably for like a psychological, because you're like, if that's the first time in the training block on race day that you hit that fucking 90% threshold, you're like, fuck, you'll just panic.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to hold it.
Yeah.
If you in the training try and simulate that and go, okay, I know how this feels, I know how long I can hold at this felt exhaustion level, then you're alright, you can kind of settle in.
Yeah. And it's like everything, build yourself up to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't write yourself off in week 1. You want to be building up to like a full run through at the end of your training block.
A progressive program like anything else. But I think also, like, I add to this, like, know your pace as well. Like, everyone's going to be different with that, but just running 8k and going, okay, a hell 5-minute k is sweet.
Yeah.
That's not okay. Like, you need to be able to know what pace can you hold on the like on a 1k or thereabouts distance after you've absolutely smashed something else, after your heart rate's already 150 before you started.
Yeah.
So I think you need to know what pace you can feasibly hold across the board through training as well. You can't just guess this.
Well, that's the things, like what's measured can be improved, isn't it? Always test before you go into any training block, because otherwise you don't know where you stand.
Yeah, and then we didn't do this as well, but I mean...
Learn from our mistakes. Yeah. That's the message of this podcast.
Yeah, so once you've got your pace in mind, you should stick to that and hang your hat on it and be like, okay, we're going to hold this from the get-go, from kilometre 1, we're going to hold 5 minutes, then 5 minutes, and 5, rather than holding 4 and then 6s.
Yeah. And if you don't know where to start with programming or hybrid training, then we both have hybrid programs.
We do indeed. So link through our mutual bios.
Yeah, links in our mutual bios. Go with your favourite. Yeah, okay, so that was a training tip. In terms of the actual race, there's 2 really, but they're kind of interlinked. The first one is don't come out too hot. especially and this goes for any race or event you do. If it's the first one you do, the chances are the adrenaline's going to spike initially, and it can easily get the better of you.
Yeah, it did.
And it did with us because he's a hat.
Yeah, I'm extremely competitive. You see, and around me were all these people. I thought I could beat all these fuckers.
And that's all well and good for the first K.
Yeah, we did the first K in about 3 minutes.
But you've then got to do 7 more of them.
Yeah.
And I was fucked.
I wrote Eddie off on the first K, basically.
And this is particularly the case for the fucking erg machines.
Oh, yeah, for the ski especially.
Which are within, like, the first 3 stations.
No, the ski's first station, then the row's 4, I think.
Right, okay, yeah. So in the first half of the race, you've got both of the erg machines, which, again, are just cardio.
Yeah, so
you're going from cardio to cardio, so don't write yourself off, because as soon as you finish said ski or row, you're then doing more cardio immediately.
Yeah, so especially if you're doing singles, because again, you get no rest. You want your heart rate to be stable throughout, really.
Yeah, you want to be holding consistent pace, and again, this is why it's important to know your pace.
Yeah.
Because you can hang your hat on that then, because like when you got the photographer in your grill, and you're digging out with your fizz face, and you got people cheering you on and stuff, it's quite easy for it to get the better of you. But like if you're staring at the monitor and you know you're holding your pace, then you're laughing.
Yeah, exactly. So again, with training, like you should know if you're dying, you can hold a K at this pace. And if that's the case, then you know, all right, we're halfway through the race, when you adrenaline's up, heart rate's up, whatever, you know you can hold a row at 155 then and be comfortable, then that's fine. You can hang your hat on that and be like, right, that's my like left of arc, that's my lowest pace I'm gonna hold, and you sit at that for a bit, and then if you feel good, you can speed up.
Yeah.
And again, with pairs, it's a little easier because you can just communicate and break it up if you need to, or do like 20 strokes each or whatever.
That's what I mean. But if you just apply like the excitable dog method,
where
you're like, oh, look at all this, look at all these people, like, and you just send it, then you're gonna be fucked, aren't you?
Well, yeah, certainly by the time you get to the sleds, because the sleds as well are back to back, and they're the second and third station, which is fucking just. And they are heavy, man.
They're lung heavy, and most people don't have the requisite strength to just arm it, into just kind of like upper body. So like, if you're clever and you are strong enough, and this applies for very few people, you can just basically
the Ollie March-ons of the world.
You can just pull it. So like for the sled pull, you can just do all arms, and
which is a real benefit.
Which is a real benefit because most of the stations don't require.
Or just legs.
Are just legs. So if for an entire station you can just rest your legs, that's a massive bonus. That's like 4 minutes of rest.
Yeah, so I think sled pull definitely, but the thing is, the sled weights they give you on the website are super fucking deceiving. We put probably like 120% of the sled weight on the training sleds in JD Gym. Mate, they were flying. They were like, oh, this is fucking sweet, mate. And then we got to the thing, the turf is like nothing else. It's like glue on that turf.
This needs to be covered. The Hyrox sleds are a myth.
Mate, it's bizarre.
They're not the weight that they say they are.
Because a 200 kilo sled isn't that bad.
No.
But like you see, mate, you'll see it if you follow anyone who's done Hyrox this weekend. Bro, everyone struggles on the sleds. I don't know what it is.
Mate, everyone blows on the sleds. I swear they put fucking sandpaper on the bottom of them.
Yeah, mate.
They don't move.
You could be as strong as anything, and you're still going to fucking hang out, which is so mental. This is also why strength is a massive thing. Because...
But like strength work in relation to sleds.
Well, single leg.
Yeah.
If you can
unilateral strength,
heavy, and you can do whatever, then you're probably in a good place. And to be fair, that's the majority of what our training looked like, isn't it? Really.
Mate, you remember when we were in the warm-up zone for Amsterdam?
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, we'll have a little fucking...
Have a little go at this.
We'll have a little dabble on the sleds.
Yeah.
They weren't fucking moving. I was like, mate, this is going to be a very long hour.
Also with the pull, like you mentioned, with the arm over arm, that's all well and good with a decent rope. Those ropes, bro, have got fucking oil on them. They're like, geez, like you can't use chalk, so you can't really grip it, and then that's why I think people grab onto it and lean back and do that thing.
Yeah, because again, massive oversight from us. We didn't practice our sled like pull technique or push technique until the actual warm up zone before the event.
This is why we need to go forward at least a couple of times before, because their sleds actually don't move either.
Yeah.
So will they be good?
That's why they don't struggle, because it's like expectation management, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, okay, this feels like home.
But yeah, I remember us trying to do the overarm technique on the sled pull
should be sound.
in the warm-up zone. I went to pull it, the sled didn't move, and I just pulled myself towards the sled, and I was like, right, well, that's a non-starter,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I went to pull it, and the rope just slipped through my hand, and I had it cut in my hand. I was like, great,
That's good.
brilliant. Before we'd even started, and so we actually did power through the sleds pretty well. I think we did. Did we do a full length each? Just it. That was.
I think so, and then we cracked it. Well, I didn't realise it was only basically like one full length each, because I was confused. I was like, oh, brilliant, we've got to run again now.
Yeah. You were like, oh, sound sleds. And then I think you go through. Is it the row next? I think it is. The row and then the burpees. I think
so.
Burpees, I feel like, well, for me on pairs were easy.
Yeah, they're sound.
We did 5 each.
We're pretty strong in like upper body chest, though, aren't we?
Yeah, I think burpees are a decent one.
Because if you're pretty strong in the chest pec region, you can basically just bounce through burpees.
Yeah, especially if you're getting rest. You know, you're just going to be able to go. Well,
if you do 5 on 5 off,
you're
right. Laughing really, because they're burpee broad jumps, aren't they?
Yeah, we overtook a lot of people on that.
Yeah,
actually. I think we probably did. I think we did. It gives you like you split for each thing and then the position. I think we did quite well on that burpee thing. They'd be like top 20 or top.
Yeah,
20.
and again, use your common sense. Like, don't dig out on the actual kind of like the press movement of the burpee. Dig out on the jump, because that's where you make the most. That's where you make the ground.
So save your energy. Like I was peeling myself off the floor.
Yeah.
Then stepping one foot in. Stepping my other foot in, then jumping as far as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. That's one of them.
Right, and my final tip, and this is specifically for doubles, is that the stronger runner should always start and finish a station.
Yeah, definitely.
That goes without saying.
So
you want the weaker runner.
Has rest.
Yeah, because then that levels the playing field.
Yeah, definitely. So you come in, and if you're a stronger runner, because you're, again, fatigued at that point, you straight into the station. The weaker runner can then rest a little bit. Maybe they get like a minute or whatever after the run, which is great. Then they get on, they can smash the station for however long, then you finish it if you're the stronger one. But yeah, I think that's a good advice. And that's just strategy. There's a lot of strategy, to be honest. I mean, I think because you can swap in on the sleds wherever as well, can't you? So if your partner's a little bit weaker and you're super strong on the sled, then fucking let them do maybe like a couple of feet and then you just finish it.
Yeah.
So
this is the other thing with Hyrox as well. So they like to preach really stringent rules in terms of like adjudicating and like where you can be in relation to your partner when they're doing their work and stuff. Like, you're not supposed to stand in front of them and stuff. Right, that is bollocks. They don't give a shit.
No, it's bullshit.
So like, don't get stressed out.
You were flapping about that, and I was like, nah.
Don't get stressed out before the race about like trying to ingrain like, all right, so when my partner's on the ski, I've got to be stood behind. Right, they don't give a shit. Basically, as long as you do the work, it's fair game.
I think it is. I mean, we should say and caveat this: we've only done one, and it might have just been lax judging it.
This was Amsterdam,
and it was.
So
Amsterdam.
I don't want to.
Might have been high.
I don't want to veer into kind of like racial stereotypes here, but the Dutch are quite relaxed people.
Well, that's the thing. So it could have been that. I think probably if you did London, it would probably be different.
The only one where I know that they tend to be a bit stricter, and I think it's because it's the final station and people try and maybe cut corners, is the wall balls. But as we know, and I don't want to throw people under the bus here, I know people that have done all of their wall ball reps and they haven't even broke parallel on their squat. And you know who you are.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
And there's video evidence of it.
Thing is, our geezer, our judge, couldn't even count. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I was doing it.
Right, yeah,
What did we do? Like 35 each or something? Or
no, so you
each?
went straight in and did like 60 or something, didn't you, mental?
Oh, yeah,
because they were really light. So you were like, I just want this over with.
Yeah,
you did 60. I turned to our fella and go, right, so we've got 40 left. And he was like,
he was like, I don't know. I was like, you've got a clicker there.
Your one job, mate, is you've even got a fucking tool to help you count.
And he was like, and he wasn't communicating.
Yeah, so
I don't know where I'm at, mate.
So then
you had to do it for me, didn't you?
Yeah, so I think did you do 60 and then I just did 40 and then we were done?
Yeah.
So then, so he was like, I don't know. So then I just did 40 and then we went, right, we're done, mate. And he was like, yeah, sound.
We could have done 20.
You could have just done 40 and I could have done 40.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have known.
He wouldn't have a clue.
We would have shaved about a minute off our time.
Yeah. The wall balls, if you're doing it, if you're relatively strong and you're doing doubles open, is fucking a joke.
Actually, that's another tip. Actually, if you're doing the open doubles and you're relatively strong, as in like your strength kind of outweighs your ability to run, what I would suggest doing is just sending the final run
Kilometre,
and leaving nothing in the tank, because you can just persevere through the wall balls.
You can just hold on because it's the last thing.
It's the running.
Yeah.
But we said it once, I'll say it again. If
you
you take one thing away from this podcast, if you're doing open doubles, square your running away.
Yeah.
Because if you've got any kind of like baseline level of strength, you will smash it if you can run.
100%.